What is up, you guys? This is the Wire Rabbit, and welcome to me rating all of the games I've played so far on this channel. I'm not gonna have every game. This is mainly just like console games I've played and maybe some PC games that I remember. But first off, we have 7 Days to Die. 7 Days to Die was an amazing game because it was like Minecraft, but it added that tension of zombies. I don't need these for this game. Or not game. I don't need these for this video. Since it's like Minecraft and, you know, it added more quote-unquote realistic stuff, that does, I don't know, for my opinion, and all these games are just my opinion, I'm gonna give 7 Days to Die an A. Just my opinion. Moving on to A Way Out. A Way Out was a game about two guys who had to figure out a way to escape prison and then redo their lives. Meanwhile, one guy was a cop on the inside, I guess? I don't know. I'm gonna give it a B solely because it was only 2-player. But the plus side was that only one person had to have the whole game. The other person could just download the demo, and that would be fine. Alice in Wonderland for the Wii. Alice in Wonderland for the Wii was an interesting game. I couldn't get through it because I don't know why. The Wii controls just messed me up, but for that, I'm giving it a C. Alien Isolation. Alien Isolation was an amazing game. Getting to be that first-person view and see the alien and whatnot, and having to use your microphone as vocal controls for it, to have the alien either hear you or not hear you, was an amazing touch. So for that, I'm gonna give it an A. Alien Isolation, or no, not Alien Fireteam Elite. There we go. I got 2 Alien games. Alien Fireteam Elite. A good game, however, was basically a 7 Days to Die ripoff. So or no, not 7 Days to Die, Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead, I'm messing up my words. Was basically a Left 4 Dead clone, and I think Left 4 Dead may have been a clone of something, but it gets a B for my book, just because it was interesting. Ark Survival Evolved. Ark Survival Evolved was one of those games where, kind of like Minecraft, but added a sort of fantasy, historic feel because it had dinosaurs and dang diamonds stuck in your arm that could help you with your inventory and whatnot. I don't know, it was interesting. I'm gonna give it a B, just because we're gonna run into a lot of clones. Let's see, which one is this? Assassin's Creed 2. Assassin's Creed 2, amazing game. Just right off the bat, an amazing game. I remember, this is the thing, on this channel, this was the first time I 100%ed this game. I got everything done. I got all the feathers, I got all the weapons, everything upgraded, I got all the assassin tokens, all of that. Plus the story was fantastic. All in all, I'm gonna give it an S tier. Just because Assassin's Creed 2 is the game. Assassin's Creed Origins. Origins was one of those games where, yes, it was cool that they went back in the past, but they added RPG, or no, kind of like looter game mechanics, where your weapon had strength, and if your weapon didn't have enough strength, then it didn't really matter. And even for stealth kills, if you weren't high enough level and the person you were attacking was too strong, it wouldn't work. And that defeats the whole purpose of an assassin game, which is if you are an assassin and they don't see you. So for that, I'm going to give it a B. The original Assassin's Creed, I believe, yes, that's the original. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see. The original Assassin's Creed, it was a good game. Story was interesting. However, I'm going to give it an A because fall damage desyncing you. I get assassins are supposed to be sneaky, but no assassin was perfect. No assassin could stay on the building forever. Moving on to Batman Arkham Knight. Batman Arkham Knight. Ooh, just A. A all around. I would say an S, but obviously there's some things I can't think of right now that kind of hold it back. Batman Return to Arkham Collection, which was Arkham City and Arkham Asylum. Arkham Asylum was an amazing game because you were in the asylum as Joker's taking over. He turns into this giant monster. And all in all, that was a good game. Arkham City was... Oh, who took over the entire city? Was it Joker again? I think all three of these games have to do with the Joker taking over, I guess. No, that's right. Arkham City was the one where Joker was sick the entire time, and Clayface was the one pretending to be the Joker. Arkham Knight was the one with the mystery person. Those games I'll put with the other Batman in A. They were amazing games, but not perfect. Ben 10 Omniverse? Omniverse. Yes, Omniverse. Once again, don't have my glasses. Ben 10 Omniverse was a good game. All these games are going to be good games. Ben 10 Omniverse was one of those back and forth timeline games where you would be Ben in the future one point and then Ben in the past in the next. And you kind of had to guess, or no, not guess. You had to change one thing in one timeline for it to fix in the other. So in younger Ben timeline, you would destroy something and then it was destroyed in the future. It was rather confusing. It actually had to do with boss battles, with the destruction and whatnot. But I'm gonna say, all in all, an A game. I think very few will actually get to the D tier. But who knows? Bulletstorm. Bulletstorm is one of those games where if you haven't played Gears of War, I've been told Bulletstorm is the closest you can get to playing Gears of War without playing Gears of War. And I really liked Bulletstorm because of the snarky attitude of the main character and because kind of the story. I'm kind of sad it ended the way it did, but it was a good game. I'm gonna give it an A, just cause. Call of Cthulhu. I'm just gonna let that speak for itself. No. Call of Cthulhu was a psychological game where you had to... It was kind of like a Telltale game where your choices kind of depicted how the ending would go. So you could either be the wholesome detective trying to figure out all the things. You could go down the dark path of looking into the cults. Or you could do what I did and just kind of mix the two choices together and end up summoning Cthulhu. Cars 3 Driven to Win. This is going to get a C for me, not for Cars. It's going to get a C for me because it had a lot of objectives that were difficult to get done and were kind of nah. It was a decent game, but you know, not my entire cup of tea. Chaotic Shadow Warriors. Chaotic Shadow Warriors was one of those games where it was kind of like a Pokemon style game where you had to like scan different characters and basically add them to your team. And I love the show so much. I love that show so much and was heartbroken when they canceled it. This game, I'm gonna give an A, not an S. I hate that I can't give it an S because it was a glitchy mess. But it is what it is. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel. It's a Mario Kart racer. What do you expect? It's Mario Kart with Crash Bandicoot characters. It gets a B. Creed Rise to Glory. Honestly, I use this to work out most of the time. It had a so-so story. I think it followed the movie. I never watched the Creed movie, so I can only say I think it followed the movie. I'm gonna give it a B because it gave me a good workout. CSI Fatal Conspiracy. I don't think I finished this game on the channel. I don't know why. But since I didn't finish it, it gets a C. Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight is a game that I have actually been playing recently with a friend. And it is a game that hopefully I'll be able to come back to at some point. Maybe stream it, maybe not. Who knows? But we've been having a lot of fun with that. So Dead by Daylight gets an A from me, along with all the different characters that you can play as. Dead Space. Dead Space gets a B for me because I soft locked myself basically to where every time I died in a certain section, I would have to respawn in that section, and I didn't have enough ammo to kill the creature that was coming at me. So it's not a B because the game was bad. It's a B because I was a moron. Okay, Destiny 1 and 2, or 2 and 1, both get C's for me because they changed so much. Like, me and a couple friends were talking about this. They've changed those two games so much. They are no longer the game that they were when they first released. Like, if I'm not mistaken, the main stories for both games no longer are what they were originally. And that concerns me, because that means no one is going to be able to go through those stories as they were back then. Which is kind of sad to me. DMC Devil May Cry, I'm going to give a B. It's a good game. I didn't finish it, unfortunately, but it was a game that actually influenced me enough to where I had Dante's hairstyle for a bit, where he had that cone thing in the back. I don't know why I got it. It just looked cool. Doom. I think this is 2016 Doom. 2018. Either way, Doom gets an S for me. Because, that was a game. As well as Doom Eternal. Is that Doom Slayer Collection? No, that's Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal also gets an S because I don't know how to describe it. They are both just one of those games you have to play for yourself. And you'll see why I gave it an S tier. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 and 1 are both gonna get B's from me because I have to fix this. They're both gonna get B's from me because while yes, they are good games, they kind of they were the same game essentially, just with little twists and turns. Like, basically the missions follow the same story as the first game. You start with Raditz taking Gohan. And you have to team up with Piccolo to defeat Raditz, and someone tries to mess with the timeline, and it gets all gobbledygook. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, B. Because you just play through a little bit of the original Dragon Ball, and then you go through Dragon Ball Z. Friday the 13th, the game. This is a tricky one, because unfortunately, the licensing issues have arisen, and so this game, unfortunately, is no longer playable online. And that saddens me to say, but it is what it is. As far as the game, it was like Dead by Daylight, except I think you had more people that were survivors, and Jason had all these weird powers, and you had to like either start the boat and get away, you had to get the cops to come in, or you had to start a car, or you had to repair a car and drive away, but Jason could stop you. All in all, that gets an A for me. Ghostbusters, the game remastered. I want to finish this game. I want to get another copy because my copy was messed up. I want to get another copy and finish that game. That game gets an A for me because that is such a good game, and I want to have the ending on my channel. Ghostbusters. So this is different than Ghostbusters, the game remastered. This is a top-down game that I forget who and why they made it, but this game was, I think they had a sponsorship with Papa John's because you could enter a code and you could get each Ghostbuster Papa John's outfit. And that was just so weird to me that you could get a Ghostbuster to have a Papa John's outfit. So this Ghostbusters game gets a C from me just because it didn't match up to the other game. God of War. Technically God of War 4. S. Just S. What is this? Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm gonna give it a C. I have nothing against the game. It was just not my cup of tea. Oh, what was this? This was Little Hope, I believe. Right? Or The Devil in Me? Devil and I? Yeah, because Little Hope's over here. Okay, Devil and I. That gets an A. That gets an A, because I love the Dark Picture Anthology games. I just love them. I have no idea why. They're just those games that itch that choice-making scratch that I have. Injustice 2 gets... It gets an A, because it picks up where the first game left off, and it continues the story in a way that is satisfying to me, anyway. Plus the whole idea of an evil Superman coming out of prison to beat Brainiac, and then what happens at the end happens. You'll have to see. Jimmy Neutron, I just call this Jimmy Neutron Jet Fusion, because the full title, I believe, is The Adventures of Boy Genius Jimmy Neutron Jet Fusion. And that is just too much of a mouthful to say. I didn't finish this game because, honestly, it got repetitive and I got bored, so it gets a C. What is this? Jump Force. Jump Force is going to be one of those games that I'm going to get a lot of hate for because of my opinion. I liked Jump Force, okay? I liked it. It's going to get a B from me, though. Jump Force gets a B. And I'm going to say this. I like Jump Force because it got all these anime characters together. They didn't need to be together, but they got them all together. They had to take down Venoms. And to me, it was a good story. I knew well, actually, I can't say that in case people haven't played it. Basically, to me, it was a good game. Alright, that's what I'm gonna say. To me, it was a good game. Jurassic World Evolution. It's a sandbox Sims type game. So, a C. Lego Jurassic World. Lego Jurassic World all the Lego games kind of fall into the tier of, it's like a Weird Al song for video games. It makes fun of the original without entirely making fun of it. It's still good, but it's a parody, essentially. So, Lego games are gonna get a B from me. Same with Lego Incredibles. What was this? This was Little Hope? Yes, this was Little Hope. This one took you back to Salem. And I love that, so A from me. Lord of the Rings. Oh, which one is this? The Two Towers? I think that's the Two Towers. I don't remember. I love this game. I believe I played it on the GameCube for you guys. It's gonna get a B from me because basically all the videos got copyright claimed because of footage from the movie, which I get, but Madden 23 is gonna get a C from me. Again, all copyrighted music, couldn't turn off copyrighted music. And while I did enjoy the game, I'm not a sports guy. I'm not a, let me rephrase, because there's some quote-unquote sports games in here. I am not one for I don't know how to explain it. Basically, Madden is a good game, not 100% my cup of tea. Maneater. Maneater is a game that I love 100%. However, I'm gonna give it a B because yes, it's an amazing game. It was grindy as heck to get all the coins and all of the blood and all of the food that I needed in order to do anything. Alright, if I'm not mistaken, this is Man of Medan. Man of Medan goes straight into A because it falls into the Dark Pictures anthology. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna put all of them together. It falls into the Dark Pictures anthology. Again, I love these games. I don't know why. I love them so much. What's this? Avengers. Avengers is another one of those games. I'm gonna get hate for this. I'm gonna give Avengers a B. I like the game. I like the stories they came out with. I didn't like all the glitches and all the nonsense. It was one of those games where if it had more support and more funds in the beginning, they would have been fine. But they didn't. Marvel Ultimate Alliance. This is an amazing game, to me. This was like Marvel's version of Diablo, where you got put into a map, you could do side objectives in the map if you wanted. However, basically just run through it, find the exit, find the boss you're supposed to fight in that area, and destroy it. It's gonna get an A from me, because for whatever reason, I'm liking those type of games. Middle-earth games, both Middle-earth games are gonna get a B from me, not because they fall into the Lord of the Rings thing, but because I can't really tell them apart, so I can't tell you which one had which story. And for me, that makes it more confusing, so it gets a B. Mortal Kombat 9. Mortal Kombat 9 basically took up after Armageddon, but went back in time to the first Mortal Kombat tournament, I think. It's one of those timeline things. So they did that, and it gets a little confusing, but I love Mortal Kombat, so it's gonna get an A. Mortal Kombat X, I had XL, so I got a picture of Mortal Kombat XL. Mortal Kombat XL was a game that, I loved so much. It had Leatherface, Predator, Alien, Jason Voorhees, a bunch of amazing side characters. The story itself to me was amazing. It introduced a lot of new characters, made sense why these new characters were here, and all in all was a good play, in my opinion. And it's gonna get an A for that. Murdered Soul Suspect. This is a game that took me forever to figure out how to get the audio to work, and I finally did it, and I finished it. I love this game. You're a detective who is obviously is murdered, but you come back and have to figure out why you were, and figure out exactly what happened, and figure out who the bell killer is. It's an amazing game. It has twists and turns everywhere. I suggest you play it if you're able to. It's gonna get a B from me though, because of audio issues. My Hero 1's Justice. My Hero 1's Justice is kind of like a 3D Mortal Kombat game where you take characters from the anime and fight each other. That's essentially it. You go through the story of the anime, I think. I don't remember. Honestly, it's been forever since I played this game. I want to play the second one. I have the second one. I want to play it. I just need my wheel to land on it. But it's going to get an A from me. Need for Speed Most Wanted. S. It's an amazing game. It's a classic game and an amazing game. That gets it an S. Need for Speed. Just Need for Speed. It gets an A because there were some characters I liked, some I didn't, and it's just a racing game. Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2 Grand Prix. It's a Mario Kart game. Again, it's a Mario Kart game. I did like that Nickelodeon characters. So, both 2 and 1 get a B from me because it's a Mario Kart clone. Overwatch. You know why. Paranormal Activity, The Lost Soul. The Lost Soul was a VR game that I played. I forget if no, I didn't finish it. I didn't finish it because it scared me so much. I had to put it down, and I haven't picked it back up since. I had to put it down because ghost stuff does not go well with me. Unless it's Ghostbusters where it's cartoonish fun. But Paranormal Activity dealt with like demons and shadow people and basically, you know what I mean if you've seen the movies. Imagine that, but you're in it. It gets an A from me. But, my god. Predator Hunting Ground. That game was confused on what it wanted to be. If you were the Predator, you were immensely overpowered. It felt like you were invincible. Unless the Marines and everyone else was coordinated, you were unstoppable. If you played as the Marines, you were playing Call of Duty. That's basically it. But it gets an A from me, because Predator. Prey. Prey was a game I never finished. I want to go back and finish it, but I never finished it. And I don't know why. I think I got bored somewhere in between it. And I just never did. But it gets a B. It gets a B. PlayerUnknown Battleground. PlayerUnknown Battleground is what it is. It's a battle royale. It's a battle royale game. I'm gonna give it a C. It is what it is. Resident Evil 2 Remake. I never played the original Resident Evil 2. However, Resident Evil 2 Remake with Mr. X was amazing. I loved playing that game. And it's one of those games where taking care of your inventory was necessary. So that gets an S from me. And so does Resident Evil 3 Remake. Once again, I never played the original Resident Evil 3. So I don't know how well it is in comparison to the remake. But Nemesis. My god, what a villain. Resident Evil 5. Okay. Resident Evil 5, I played with a friend who I forget what he goes by now. Glitchy Fragmented? Glitchy Fragment? I don't know. Hang on. Let me look it up. Let me look it up, because I want to get this right. Yeah, Glitchy Fragment. I played this with him when he went by a different name, and he loved to hit me with the stun baton. I'm gonna give this game a C, because at the end of the day, the story just didn't make sense, and then Chris being able to punch the boulder with his bare fists just was weird. Okay, Resident Evil 6. Resident Evil 6 had far too many stories that all culminated into one final story. I'm gonna give it a D because it had so many stories. Oh Lord. Okay, I'm gonna move the D's up to C's just so we can see everything, because all these are, and you know what, I'm actually gonna delete that row. That way we can kind of see everything, because I think we're nearing the end. Resident Evil Biohazard. This game, whew, this was a game indeed. I'm gonna give it an S, just because it was an amazing game. Being a first-person Resident Evil game was very cool, and it went a little more into horror than the other ones did. And I'm gonna give Resident Evil Village an S as well, because it kind of picks up years later after Resident Evil Biohazard, where you're the same character. It's still first person, not a over-the-shoulder third-person view. And once again, it leaned more into horror than the others did, and I like that. Rick and Morty Virtual Reality. I'm gonna give this a B, because yes, it's Rick and Morty, yes, it's funny. It gave me a bit of disorientation from time to time, and that's about it. Saints Row the Third. Saints Row the Third, amazingly, was the first video game that I placed on this channel, and Saints Row the Third holds a special place in my heart, but I'm gonna give it a B because it's just a GTA clone. Saw 2 gets a C. That's the lowest on our list. It gets a C because it takes you 2 hours to get from one save point to the next. That is ridiculous. Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase is gonna get a B because my nose itches. It's gonna get a B because, granted, it's an old game, it's a PS1 game. It's still good and still challenging. Seven Deadly Sins, Knights of Britannia. I like this game because it kind of went to the story of the anime and kind of left off where I left off in the anime. But getting those characters back, going through that, made me remember when me and my friends started watching the series. And it just brought back good memories, so that gets an A from me. Sherlock Holmes versus Jack the Ripper. I never finished. I got bored with it, I'm gonna be honest. Actually, can I bring this in a bit? I'm gonna try to fit everything in. I don't want any of the ads in. So I'm gonna try to fit this as much as I can. Sherlock Holmes vs. Jack the Ripper gets a C. Just for that. Skate 3. Skate 3 honestly gets a B. It's a fun game. I played it when I was younger, but it doesn't hold up. Slime Rancher is a fun, relaxed game. It's gonna get a B because it's a relaxed game. I like relaxing games sometimes. SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 gets an A. So does SmackDown vs. Raw 2008 featuring ECW also gets an A. Games from my childhood I absolutely loved, and I still love them now that I went back and played them. South Park: The Fractured But Whole was Was an interesting game. Picked up after Stick of Truth. And all in all was a good experience. I'm going to give both Fractured But Whole and Stick of Truth an A because they were fun. They were South Park games. They were funny. And supposedly they're coming out with a 3D one at some point. Let's see. Spawn Armageddon. Spawn Armageddon, I'm going to give a B. It's a Spawn game. I love Spawn. I'm biased. But I couldn't get into it. I just couldn't. I don't know why. Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 was interesting because it had all these different characters in it than was in the movie. Granted, it took you forever to get to the movie parts, but had all these different characters from comics and the movie. I'm gonna give it a B. Spider-Man Miles Morales picks up after Marvel's Spider-Man. Follows the story of Miles Morales and the hardships he has to go through being a new Spider-Man. I'm gonna give it an A because there's some stuff they could improve on. They messed with Peter's face, which I don't like. I'm also gonna give Marvel Spider-Man an A because that story was amazing with Doc Ock and the Sinister Six. Mwah. SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. One of those games that is a remake. Once again, I couldn't get into it. I just couldn't. I don't know why. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. To me, is a Dark Souls-like game, which I'm meh on Dark Souls-like games. I'm gonna give it a B because it's Star Wars. I like Star Wars. Sunset Overdrive. Oh, this game deserves a sequel. It deserves a sequel so much. Probably will never get it though. However, I'm gonna give Sunset Overdrive an S because it is that good of a game. If you can find it, play it. Tales from the Borderlands. I'm gonna give Tales from the Borderlands an A because it's interesting to see something from a Hyperion point of view, from a Hyperion employee point of view, and just kind of go through a story that is locked on your choices. Sonic Team Racing is gonna get... Where did I put the other racers? I don't even see where I put the other racing games. Oh, yeah, it's gonna get a B. It's a Mario Kart clone. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and 1 were just that. They were amazing. Both of them are going to get an A from me because I don't know why. I love Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. Did he make a good Peter Parker? Not really. He made an amazing Spider-Man. He had a bad Green Goblin. He had an okay Electro. His Rhino looked weird. All in all, though, good games. What is it? The Division 2. Tom Clancy's The Division 2. I'm going to give this a D because I like a game with cutscenes. There weren't that many cutscenes in The Division 2. The Escapist 2. I'm going to give a D. I like the game, don't get me wrong. I like it. I didn't love it, though. The Evil Within 2. The Evil Within 2 was one of those psychological games again. So I'm going to give it an A. Because I like psychological games for whatever reason. The Incredibles 2 Rise of the Underminer. This was the sequel. Keep in mind, this was the sequel we had up until they made The Incredibles 2. So this told you what happens after the events of Incredibles 1 with the Underminer. This is technically what happens in between the opening scene of The Incredibles 2 and the rest of the movie. Because if you remember, in the movie Incredibles 2, they never catch the Underminer. They never catch the Underminer. unless you played this game. But this is only gonna get a B for me. Let's see what's next. Order 1886 gets a A. Order 1886 gets an A for me all the time, in all time zones, everywhere. Oh Lord, can I like scrunch these? No, I can't. Why can't I scrunch these? Settings. No, stop that. Okay. Oh god, what is this game? The Raven Remastered gets a D. Raven Remastered. It was an okay game, but not the best game I've ever played. Simpsons Hit and Run S. You know why if you've played it. Oh god. The Walking Dead Telltale series gets an S. One of the few games that was able to bring me to tears when I played it. And that's a hard thing to do. The Wolf Among Us gets an S. Telltale knows how to make games. And I don't know how. Tiny Tina's Wonderland gets an S. I'm just now realizing Borderlands isn't on this list that I'm making, which is very weird. I thought I had it on here. But that gets an S because it's a Borderlands game. It adds magic and whatnot. And I just like the Borderlands series. Tokyo Ghoul Recall to Exist. This game is going to get a B for me. Because it picks up in Season 3? I want to say Season 3. Where Kaneki doesn't know who he is. He has the black and white hair. He's a whole different person. And then he has to remember who he is through this trauma and whatnot. I don't know. UFC 4 is going to get a B from me because sports games. Until Dawn. Until Dawn is going to get an S from me because that is what kicked off the Dark Pictures anthology. That picked up the Dark Pictures anthology, and that game was perfection. To me, was perfection. Vampire, another Souls-like game, but since it's vampires, and I love vampires, I'm going to give it an A. Watch Dogs Legion, I'm going to give a B, because I personally, once again, could not get into it. Same with Watch Dogs. Is that Watch Dogs 2? No, Watch Dogs 1. I couldn't get into it. I don't know why, I just couldn't. World War Z. A Left 4 Dead clone, but was better. So it gets an A. Play the game, if you want to know what I mean. WWE 2K 17, 18, 19, 20, and 22, and WWE 2K Battlegrounds. They all get an A from me. I couldn't tell you for the life of me what the story for these games are. No, you go up there. I couldn't tell you for the life of me what the story for these games are, but I love WWE games. They're not perfect, mind you. 2K20 was proof of that. Or was it 22? No, it was 20. 20 is proof that things were not perfect, which is why Battlegrounds came out between 19 and 20. No, pardon me. Between 20 and 22. They hit some hiccups with Ukes dropping them in THQ and whatnot. It was an interesting time. Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's Dual Transfer. This I'm going to give a B because, my lord, there were a lot of missions. And don't get me wrong, I love Yu-Gi-Oh! But I could not handle doing that much Yu-Gi-Oh! And having to put you guys through that much Yu-Gi-Oh! Because there was a lot of duels and very little story given. It was like this. This being the amount of duels I had to do, this being the amount of story that was given. But as of right now, that is all the games that I've done. And what I want to do is every year, at the end of the year, since this video is coming out December 31st, I want to have the end of the year be a recap of all the games that I have played throughout the year. And kind of just... Or, pardon me, the games that I completed during the year. And have that be on this tier list. To kind of do a little recap of what I have played and what I haven't. And it's interesting to look at all these titles now and kind of see them and see what I have done. And it brings back so many good memories. And I cannot wait to make more memories and go through this tier list next year. But I'm going to leave this here. So thank you guys so much for watching this one. If you liked it, you know what to do. Keep things crazy, and I'll see you guys in the next one.